Hello, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week, get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock with news that bank lending for housing is still rising strongly in Australia. Firstly, however, in the US, their housing market sales volumes bounced back in July after 3 months of declines. But the jump in volumes only partially recovered what had been lost in that prior quarter. Listing numbers are down, but prices are up. However, the level of investor interest has fallen to its lowest level in a year, said to be due to less homes for sale at bargain prices. A key Midwest manufacturing survey, which is closely watched, was a drag on sentiment today, reversing a strong June result, but a similar survey in Texas was very upbeat. In China, both their official PMI readings slipped a little, indicating a moderation in their expansion. The factory index was back to the level it has averaged in the past 9 months, and the services measure was back to the average for the past year. Neither is cause for concern, but equally neither indicates growing momentum. China is famous for its outsized trade surplus in goods, but in services it has a large deficit, and that grew sharply in June, up by about 30%. Still, the net between them is still a surplus of almost $17 billion in the month. HSBC, which has undergone a shake-up and downsizing over the past few years, has reported bumper half-year results. So good, it is going to use its extra cash to buy back its shares and pump up its share price. In Europe, their jobless rate has fallen to an average of 9.1%. That is down a whole percentage point in a year. But that average masks a very wide range. It is 2.9% in the Czech Republic and a whopping 21.7% in Greece. However, the gains seem to be made across most of the EU countries. In Australia, the spot iron ore price surged overnight in response to supply concerns, especially by China. And despite official attempts by regulators to quell strong lending growth for housing in Australia, the latest data shows that it is hardly working. Others are rushing in to fill the gap, and overall lending for housing is up 6.7% in a year. It is up almost 8% for banks other than the Big Four. Of particular note is that corporate lending by Chinese banks in Australia is up a remarkable 23% in a year. In New York, the US Treasury 10-year yield is unchanged at 2.29%. The price of oil rose again today and is now just over $50 a barrel, while the Brent benchmark is now just over $52.50 a barrel. The price of gold is unchanged but holding at its higher level at $1,268 an ounce, and the Kiwi dollar will start slightly softer today at 75 US cents. On the cross rates, we're marginally lower at 93.9 Aussie cents and 63.4 Euro cents. As a result, the TWI will start at 77.3. I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.